Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Resident Evil 7 playthrough. Now, the main plot that we're going through right now is that we need to find the serum that will cure the mold infection. The serum is the... I mentioned yesterday that I thought the way that Zoe was handled in this game was a bit bullshit, and most of that has to do with the choice that you have to make at the end. And don't get me wrong, I understand the causality behind the whole choice. Basically, you make two, syringes of the serum with the ingredients that you find. Why these ingredients are still being hidden around the house, I don't fully follow the logic of, but you make two syringes, but you wind up having to use one of them to kill, but not really kill Jack Baker. Why did I say Joe? Joe's the guy who finishes off Jack Baker.
What happened to Joe?
I'll tell you what happened to Joe. He's a hillbilly hick, and he lives way off in the swamp and didn't get caught up in the biohazard. So he comes in to clean up the rest of the mess after the rest of Ethan and Chris's story is finished. It's very it's cheesy ass fun, but that's end of Zoe, and I'll be recording that some other time. The serum, though, you wind up using up one of your two syringes to beat Jack Baker. So, as a result of this, you only have one syringe to cure one person with. And you have a choice of Mia, the wife you came to rescue, who you just found out...
In the first place.
Yeah, who you... I don't know if you necessarily know what Mia's actual part in the story is at that point, but... Or you can cure Zoe, who's been helping you out this whole time and has been trapped in this horror for ages. And the rationale is that no matter who you cure, you'll try and come back with a cure later after you escape. But the causality is if you don't cure Mia, she winds up being too weak when she's taken over by... Without the serum's influence, she winds up being too weak-willed to really resist when Eveline tries to take her over during her boss fight after the tanker section. And because Zoe's on the boat with you when Eveline just sort of calcifies her and turns her into a statue, she gets dumped into the water, and she won't be found later by Joe Baker when End of Zoe happens, which I guess means the Umbrella soldiers clean up the mess instead, like the professionals they are, instead of punching their way through an army of mold monsters. So, yeah. Oh, hi, Marguerite.
Yeah, so, poor Zoe.
So is one choice considered canon then?
Yeah. Mia's story leads to the good ending where Mia survives, and where Zoe is calcified on dry land so that she can be found and cured later by Joe. So the end of Zoe DLC only happens after the good ending. It's just that this is it's not a choice that really makes sense as a choice between good ending and bad ending. You're deciding who to prioritize, but the causality is a bit weird.
Yeah, there's no way to tell that there was... I think that's supposed to be the kind of thing where there is no right choice, but it's clear that there is
and the bad choices in Resident Evil 1, for example, made sense because they resulted in a character's death, and that character's death made sure that the events wouldn't fall together so that the mansion exploded. If you're playing as Chris, if you don't manage to save Rebecca, well, Rebecca was the one who decided to set off the self-destruct sequence in his chain of events, so the mansion doesn't blow up and the tyrant escapes. And if you're playing as Jill, Barry dies, so he's not there to bash Wesker in the head, so Wesker takes you into the Tyrant Chamber, activates the Tyrant, and gets killed by the Tyrant, rather than running off to set off the self-destruct sequence and being killed by a Chimera after that.
Whoops.
Yeah, it was an undignified end for the bastard, but, it wasn't really the end, as we all know.
Yeah.
Now we have the crow key.
Yeah, which means we can go back into the house and get that delicious, delicious grenade launcher, which I recommend doing because the boss fight with Marguerite is a pain in the ass without it.
So is Jack really the only member of the family that stays active after this beginning section?
I mean, Marguerite's in the old house, but yes, he's confined to entirely that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like each area of area of the game is dominated by a different member of the Baker family, who serves sort of as the boss of that section. Although Lucas Baker bugs out without fighting you because he's a smart person and knows better.
I like your choice of warning their bugs out, and it's like put those Marguerite stick.
Solid fuel you can combine with chem fluid, I think, to make burner fuel.
Yeah.
So you can actually reload your flamethrower, unlike in Resi 2, which is good because the flamethrower is nice. But
yeah, it's like, how do I put more fire in here?
yeah, the flamethrower in Resi 2 was one of those one ammo clip double space weapons that didn't actually have ammo reloads at all. You could just use it until it dropped from 100% to 0%, and then it's just a waste of 2 inventory spots.
I never used the flamethrower.
I use
RE2.
it against
not?
the plants, but that's about it. Well,
Because they only use it for the plants, but you can easily run around them.
But then you could burn them, which is more fun.
the thing about the flamethrower on Resi 2 is that it runs out of fuel way too fast. It's not ammo efficient at all, and you only get the one. You can't reload it in any way. So once its fuel is done, it's done, and you don't get much mileage out of it. So it's not
Also,
worth
I
it.
don't remember, refresh my memory. If you killed any plants in scenario A, did they come back in scenario B as the poison?
No. It's
Or
if
am I
you use
thinking of
the
the
anti-BOW
toxin?
gas sprinkler in
Okay.
scenario A,
That's what
it
I'm thinking
causes them to mutate and become poisonous in scenario B. So the most efficient way is to use the gas in scenario B, because what happens in general with the gas sprinklers, in whatever scenario you use it in, the enemies become easier to kill. Oh,
Jump scare.
that's actually pretty smart. Just hide around the corner, you know. Oh, damn it.
Stupid Woodhouse.
Oh,
She's
wouldn't
also
you know?
probably like growing termites in here too, which
Long live the
Hey,
king.
Marguerite, I found a part of your basement that isn't flooded.
All right, you little cock.
Hey, I was talking.
I have a flamethrower.
Here, I'll light your lamp for you.
As well as the rest of you.
It's like, hey, looking a little light on field there. Let me help.
The reason you want to use the flamethrower for this particular part is because she sends swarms of bugs at you. And, you know, you can take down the big ones with your knife, but the swarms of bees are... no. Shit.
You're gonna die in this hole.
It's hip to burn bees.
well, fire is super effective against bugs, so you know.
I think Resident Evil 7 is a good case for, like, you can have these action mechanics and quick weapon switch mechanics and all of that without necessarily...
Oh, great, Lewis. Now you got fire bees in one of you.
without necessarily undermining the horror.
Eat well, my pretties.
You're not the Wicked Witch.
And I'm so glad that they're very obviously learning from Resident Evil 7 with the Resident Evil 2 remake, because it makes me legitimately excited for what they're going to cook up in Resident Evil 8, which hopefully is something more delicious than roast marguerites.
Yeah. Resident Evil would, was that Resident Evil? Wizard of Oz would be a more interesting movie if Dorothy had a flamethrower.
I mean, it would, so.
Yeah, but also Scarecrow would die, like.
Well, Scarecrow would know his place.
Oh, jeez, she's flooding the... Marguerite, I already told you, I found a part of your basement that's not flooded, but you had to go and ruin that, didn't you? Jesus. Oh, no.
And it needs that Louisiana touch. And it floods the basement. Oh, goodness, look at the time.
It's caution o'clock.
I do like that they implemented the health meter into, like, something that your character is wearing, but, you know, it's a little hokey.
Just a bit.
Well, I mean, it's probably more modernized than whatever they probably did for Resident Evil 1 and through 3.
In
Well,
Resi-
you see, I never really imagined that they actually had a health thing on their person in those games. It was just a gameplay thing. Just to pause.
I like to think so.
In the-
Dragging that machine
In
everywhere they
the
go.
Resident Evil 1 novel, and I know I'm annoying people by bringing up the novelization so much in this context, but in the novel, like, the mysterious Trent gives Jill a pocket computer, which is implied to be the little computer screen in your menu that you view the map on. I thought that was clever.
I just love how the novelization feels the need to justify everything.
Almost everything. It takes liberties with the order things go in. There's no second trip to the mansion. She just sort of has everyone complete multiple objectives in different orders, and like Wesker has the keys, so he can just unlock the helmet key doors himself.
But I did find out we need to make one.
It makes
G
sense.
series head and an arm.
Now, you know, one difference between the Spencer mansion and the Baker house is that I don't have to question who keeps the candles lit.
I don't know about the arm, though.
Because that's obvious. It's Marguerite. She's lighting candles. Makes
Still need to
sense.
check the second floor here.
Sure, why not?
Check it out. Meet me at the
No, it's the ghost of Wesker and his compulsive need to light haunted areas.
In any case, there's this shrine here with a weird baby thing in it.
The Shrine of the Silver Monkey. Oh, look, there's a Wicker Man.
The Wicker Men were featured in the demo as things that you could examine, I believe, and they were one of the things that emphasized the potential supernatural nature of things, which was a massive fake out, obviously. They don't
Not the
really...
bees.
They don't really... Oh, what the hell? Gross. They don't really do anything with the supernatural stuff in this game until the very end, where your infection progresses to the point where you start actively hallucinating during the final boss area. But that itself is, I think, a missed opportunity, because in one of the prototypes of Resident Evil 4, they were playing around with hallucination for the purpose of giving the game a more supernatural threat.
Oh, the paranormal element, yeah.
that
Well,
one.
they probably already thought that it wasn't similar enough to the game was similar enough to Silent Hill already, and maybe they didn't want to go quite that far.
Well, when I
you
say hallucination, I mean things that appear and disappear in your view as you fight them. You know, like you could be going through a normal room and then a color filter dropped over it, and you'd be fighting the Hook Man. It's you know, it's an idea that could have been taken, and it's not the last time that they toyed around with the idea of hallucinations too. You're supposed to have hallucinations from the heat in early build of Resident Evil 5.
In Resident Evil 5, yeah. I remember them telling about it in interviews. They never followed up with it, though. It's kind of a shame.
Oh,
It was
looks
probably
like
a very complicated mechanic to implement. Otherwise, it would have been pretty scripted, I would have to imagine.
I would say that given what Eternal Darkness did for the GameCube back in the day,
yeah.
I would imagine if you're out in the sun for too long, a meter would build up, and the higher the meter was, the more you would see.
So to proceed,
That's
we need
true,
Marguerite's...
but it's also a more
Ooh.
complicated game than Eternal Darkness as
So,
well.
so to proceed with that door, we need Marguerite's lamp, but she just reclaimed it.
What's stopping us from just holding the other side down with our hand and opening the door so it doesn't lock it, and then leaving it open so it doesn't lock again when it tips back over?
Well, that's special.
Okay, one of the things about Ethan's dialogue here is that, like, he gets desensitized to the horror aspect of the game at precisely the same pace that the player probably does. So
Yeah, he'll be a Marvel superhero yet.
he's kind of speaking your mind most of the time, or it feels like it. It's fun. I like it. And it's, you know, it's that progression from being... It's that progression from being scared out of your mind to being, you know, on an even level with the threats you're facing that kind of makes the Resident Evil survival horror formula satisfying to get to the end of. Oh, but
It's
before...
also probably just a survival technique people use in this situation, is to just shut off the part that takes it seriously. Otherwise, your adrenaline would build up too much, and you'd literally freak yourself out to death.
Now, you remember what I said about Zoe's hiding spots always having massive trays of cigarettes? That's part of the clue in this photo, because they take a picture of a toilet with a massive overflowing tray of cigarettes next to it. So if you've been paying attention, you might think, oh, that's the toilet in Zoe's trailer, isn't it? Before I go back
Can you
and
find the thing there before getting that picture?
No. It's implied that Zoe takes a picture of the location, leaves the treasure there, and then immediately puts a picture somewhere she expects you to pass by. So she's helping you out without necessarily accompanying you around, because that could get her in trouble.
She can't tell me that on the phone.
If she helps you out too directly, Eveline will get wise and turn her into a calcified statue. Eveline doesn't do this because Eveline has a weird, twisted sense of family. So at this point, she's not angry enough to actually kill Zoe. Just about the only thing that Zoe could do other than helping you that would make her angry enough is trying to get away. which is why Zoe needs you to get the serum before she can, run off into the
Leave.
swamp or something. Okay, I was looking
And I'm
around
guessing
for like...
Eveline is too strong for her to try to just bolt and make it.
Yeah, Eveline basically has control over her body at this point, and the only way to
Over
avoid...
Zoe's body, or
Over all their bodies, yeah. She's been infected for a long time. She's not as free to act independently as Ethan is. Ethan's still at that point where he's infected, but Eveline can't control him or turn him into a monster.
oh,
or
she can
anything yet.
control anybody who has mold. Then.
Yeah, right now he's in the early stages of the infection. No real symptoms yet. Regenerative capabilities are nice, but that's more of a help than a hindrance at this point in time. Oh, right. Yeah, the treasure is...
Well, she literally shits out magnum ammo.
Put the treasure thing away.
I wanted to put the
photo thing.
coin in, just to get it out of the way.
Who's do they say set up the anti-coin thingamahoosit?
No one, it's just a gamey thing. At first I thought
Okay.
because it shows up here that it was something Zoe was doing to fuck with me. And I'm like, really? I'm trying to help you. Just give me the magnum. No. She can't get into the cage either. Although she's had more time to look for the coins than I have, so she probably should have done by now.
Hey, maybe she has, and maybe the counter was originally at 30.
That would
Fair.
explain a lot. Anyway, yeah.
And back out we go.
Coffee maker's older than I am.
This game's supposed to be set in like modern-ish times, right?
Yeah,
Because I saw
in
some
fact,
things that said like 2013, 2014.
ever since Resident Evil 4, each main Resident Evil game has been set in the year it comes out, or the year before it comes out. I forget which.
Shouldn't Chris be like 50 by this point then?
Yeah, he's no spring chicken when you see him later in the game. I mean, damn.
He's gotta be what? He's in his 40s now at this point. in
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, he's not old
Well,
enough
it's
to be
it's
unfit,
implied
but-
that in Resident Evil 1 that he's still like very early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So he'd be in his about as early.
Well, no, I think he's considerably older than Rebecca.
Well,
Rebecca was what, 18?
Yeah,
right?
but considerably older can mean like 24.
I think the novel. I think 24 was about what he was called in the novel. Yeah. Actually, wasn't his age
So that would-
displayed in the
that would-
FMV?
I'm not sure,
I
but
think it was.
he would still be about mid 40s, so still plenty able to be on active duty.
Yeah, able to be on active duty. Just too old for them to recruit him. That's the thing about military
Getting too
recruitment. You need
old
to
for
be
this shit.
you need to be below a certain age if you're going to be recruited by law enforcement or the military. But that doesn't prevent you from serving after that point. It just means you have to start your training before that. It's not quite as
Which
ridiculous.
he obviously has, yeah.
It's not quite as ridiculous as the Jedi age limit, but
Now I'm just imagining.
he was born in 1973, so he would be 46.
Yeah, 46, sorry.
Okay, so Lewis, you say that, and now I'm imagining Padawans with rocket launchers fighting zombies.
hey, it probably happened at some point during the Clone Wars.
You know what? Yeah, probably.
Knowing the Jedi. yeah.
Anyway, you want to go into this new building with tons of ammo because this is boss number,
fight.
Yeah, boss number 2. Marguerite is probably the most interesting boss in the game. She's also the one that takes the most hits to kill. She's a persistent bitch.
So she has more health than the final boss.
Yeah, actually, Marguerite is probably one of the best horror bosses I've seen out of this kind of game. In the sense that
The most gross.
she's gross, yeah, that's one aspect, but just the way she's implemented mechanically has a lot of she's playing hide and seek with you the whole time, and it's a big complicated area that you're running around, and she does sick mook bugs on you, but the challenge is finding her before she finds you, and unloading on her before she unloads on you. And there are resources and stuff scattered around the room too, which you can make use of if you keep track of where it is or have space for it. But if you're smart, you're going into this battle with not much inventory space left at all, because you need as much ammo as you can to take her down. Also, there's what appears to be a scripted event where she jumps you at the beginning of the fight. If you know it's coming, you can actually back up and not get grabbed. So, I thought that was clever. I'm just going to burn these bugs off preemptively so that I can actually get through this door if I need to. Thank you.
Right, I said the door doesn't catch on fire.
Well, it takes a lot for wood to actually ignite, you know.
Well, fully ignite anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably char it with a flamethrower, but unless you were blowing concentrated fire on it for an extended period, it probably wouldn't actually catch.
Actually, I think with enough.
You might be
Let's
able
see,
to
enough.
kick it down if you weaken it enough. But
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
too.
I think with enough flint in the right spot in this house, you could probably burn the whole thing down.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
you
also if it's a swamp, it's also pretty damp, so that might be harder to do.
If you manage to dodge her at that point, you get some free hits, which is nice.
Also, you'd also probably die if you tried to burn the whole house down. So you know.
Yeah, you'd probably burn the swamp down too. So,
Yeah, and then afterwards you'd go to jail
Yeah.
for the ecological nightmare you just started.
No, it means that we leave Swamp Thing to handle this issue.
Swamp Thing.
No, he
But-
he's
but
no,
that's-
he can't
but-
do that. He's swamped.
You say Swamp Thing. But you say Swamp Thing, but like Jack Baker turns into Swamp Thing in End of Zoe. It's actually kind of
No,
funny.
Jack Baker.
He's
No,
not
Jack.
my Swamp
Jack
Thing.
Baker turns into the red.
What?
Yeah.
It's an actual Swamp Thing thing.
Oh.
Swamp thing.
Yes.
So the Swamp Thing represents the green.
Which
but
is-
what does the red represent?
Red is death. Dead things.
Okay, the red death. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Marguerite
Comics are weird,
does
so.
have a weak point. It's the bug hive on her crotch.
Yeah, the vagina wound, the vagina hive.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez, she even walks around like a bug. That's actually pretty effective.
Yeah, her limbs,
They're all
lengthen
stretched
and-
out and stuff.
Yeah, it's just creepy. But anyway, yeah, you're stuck in this multi-tiered arena.
Jack. Find another mower, Jack.
Oh jeez, yeah. So, you're stuck in this multi-tiered arena with this bug woman, and she can hide. And if she hides out too long in one spot, she will start sicking bugs on you, which of course is another hazard and another potential waste of your resources.
I'm not a fan of Cher.
Yeah, it's like,
They're-
I'm not a Cher fan.
There are better hair girls from that time period.
Now, here's another thing. You're not locked out of this boss arena after you beat the boss. So whatever resources you don't use up during the boss, you can come back and claim. It's another reward, I suppose, for being efficient. But, again, she takes a lot of hits. So don't expect to be leaving here with, like, enough bullets to take on an army or anything.
Yeah, that's Chris's job.
It is Chris's job. In fact, I actually like one touch in Not a Hero. You know how Ethan here holds his gun in an idle pose when he's not actively aiming, and only goes into a regular aiming reticule thing. Ow! I was not as far away from her as I thought. She damn it. She what was I saying? Oh yeah. Ethan doesn't aim his gun normally. He holds it up. He holds it up one-handed in an idle pose, and he's trained enough that he knows how to use the gun effectively enough, and knows to practice good trigger discipline. You know, taking his finger out of the trigger guard when he's not trying to fire. But he keeps going into that idle pose, and you lose the crosshairs of aiming whenever he's in the idle pose. Chris operates like a modern FPS character in that he's always in regular aiming mode, and the aim button puts him into iron sights. Which,
That's actually pretty cool, yeah.
yeah, it emphasizes how much better Oh, damn. Jesus. Fuck. That interrupted my reload, too. Damn. Like, in a lot of games, if you start reloading and then get interrupted, your gun will just magically be reloaded anyway. Jesus. God. Damn.
The shotgun should take care of this swarm of bees.
Well, you know, it's not like they're immune to pellets.
Whoa. Okay, there.
I didn't see that happen while I was actually playing. I think I was too absorbed in the struggle.
Okay.
I caught her on her way down, and I think I finished her.
Nope.
No, I didn't.
We got a trophy.
Wait, what's
Was
fly?
this played on a new profile so we? Could
No,
see
because that was the
trophies?
first trophy he's gotten.
No, it wasn't a new profile. It was just a trophy that I happened to get during this playthrough. I don't even.
And you
remember
saw
what
it.
it's for. What?
Okay.
Oh, the explosion caught her. I didn't even know she was up there. Man. Fire is effective against Marguerite, by the way. Flame rounds and the flamethrower are both good things to use in monster. Oh, Jesus. God. Oh. What are you, a zombie? Stop pretending, man. I mean, what are you, Capcom? Then I'm Tish.
Smiles, points the camera.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Shotgun time.
Wait, did I get her? No. Is she still alive?
Yeah, she takes a lot of punishment.
You seem to have something on your ass.
Seem to have something on all of you.
Yeah.
You're the one running away.
Yeah.
So does the mold give you the voice filter, or is that just come with being the boss?
No, she has one of those. She accidentally swallowed a Darth Vader voice changer.
Oh, okay. I
Well,
suppose you get...
she's coming to you a lot.
Oh,
Nope,
I
she's
got
dead.
her. She just walked into my gunshot and died.
Okay.
We take those?
Now, Marguerite Baker isn't half as durable as Jack Baker, so she actually
is it.
does. Yeah, she dies here.
Okay?
When they calcify and then crumble, that's the end of the line for the Bakers. Phew.
And this is the first time you've seen that, right?
Yeah, it's the first time you've seen that, which is your clue that Jack Baker isn't actually like dead for good when you put the serum into him. Because he calcifies, but he stays whole. So when he reappears in End of Zoe, it's not completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, so just resourcing now.
Yeah, just running around collecting all the stuff.
What you always do in a boss arena when you no longer got the boss on your ass.
Yeah.
You
Loot the place.
exactly.
Well, in most games, the boss arena would have stuff that you could use in the immediate boss area, but after the boss, they don't want you to have it anymore. So it's just there as a safety net in case you screw up. Here, it's just another room on the Baker House grounds with items in it. So if you whatever you didn't use, yeah, take it, stick it in your item box, and save it for later.
How do you tell how much fuel is left in your flamethrower?
Bottom
Yeah,
right.
ammo count.
Yeah, I saw, but I didn't think I noticed the number going down when he was using it in the boss fight. I also might
It
not
does.
Just... Okay, then
Yeah.
I'm just not paying attention.
You get used to it. It's difficult.
You get used to not paying attention.
You get used to
What were we
you get
talking
used to
about
keeping
again?
track of how much ammo you have and how much it takes. But the flamethrower is not easy to manage at all.
Well, that's usually the thing about it is that it's powerful, but it's ammo hungry is usually
So
the thing about
it takes a bit of time, but after Marguerite dies, the molds blocking the exit does calcify and shatter as well. I assume it takes a bit of time because they want you to actually go around and look around the place and find items. But yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty full up on basically everything now besides your grenade launcher.
Yeah, off screen I'm probably gonna go to the item box, drop off a bunch of stuff, go back and pick up the items that I didn't grab. I'm a bit of, well, I'm a kleptomaniac, but I'm a bit of a
Yes.
kleptomaniac in Resident Evil specifically. I like to get every item in every room, kind of the way you would in a Metroid game, even if I don't plan on using it. So
Just to have.
I make frequent trips to the item box just to put away my excess shit. Alright. So, that's 2 out of 3 bakers down for the count.
Well, one.
kinda.
Uh,
Oh, so is the lantern a puzzle thing?
Yes.
yeah, we need to go back into the old house and put the lantern on the balancing thing to open that door so that we can get the next key item for the serum.